Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. So, before we get started, there is a marketing survey that we have created to try and better serve the listeners so we can better tailor the what we should cover, what topics we should cover, what news stories on 30-minute reviews, what movies and TV shows we should review here on Beware of Spoilers in a nice, easy, and concise way. If you are interested in helping out and filling out one of these surveys, you can go to, hang on, I have the link right here, bit.ly/BOSTMRSURV. So bit.ly/BOSTMRSURV, all one thing. If you fill that out, that'll really help us out in making sure that we can better serve all the listeners and fill in topics that are of interest to everyone. Now, so to get started, I just saw the 2022 selects for Best Animated Short in a row, all 5 of them, in about an hour and a half. Pretty interesting experience. I've never done one of these before. I have notes on some of them. Well, all of them, really. And keeping in mind, I wrote this in the dark, in a dark theater that I was in, and I tried my best to take, not detailed notes per se, but notes enough to be able to give some cohesive thoughts. So, I'm going to start with I'm going to go backwards in order of what I think was, worst to best of these. So we're going to start with... How did I skip a page? That was really stupid of me. That's what's throwing me off here. Alright, so the worst was a movie called Bestia, or Beast. I see it listed on the Academy Awards page as Beast, but the movie's title card is Bestia, although it is also translated underneath. I thought that was going to come into play at some point in the movie. I feel like it kind of... What the fuck is going on in that abandoned building? Anyway, I feel like it was going to come into play, but it didn't in a way that I wanted to. This is a stop-motion animated movie about a woman who appears to be... There's no dialogue. It's a Chilean movie. There's no dialogue in it, and that seems to be a common trend through some of... Not even through some of, because it's only 2 of the movies don't have dialogue. This one and Box Ballet didn't have dialogue, because the other 3 all did. So, this one is the porcelain doll that portrays all the people. Their eyes move, but nothing else does. And this was after the point in the fucking thing where they're like, after this point, there will be some graphic content, so be aware. They give that warning, and then this is the second one after that warning. Although, really, the last one, I think, is a little bit iffy on whether or not... I mean, there's some sex, but it's not as bad as the other 2. The other 2 are fucked up. But this one is the worst, and I think the thing that made this kind of irredeemable for me was the bestiality sequence. And the fact that there's really very little explanation about what's going on in this. Because there's no dialogue, when you do no dialogue in a movie, that is a perfectly valid storytelling choice. So we're not going to use any dialogue. We're going to tell the story, entirely visually, so you can watch it and you can do it. And especially if it's something where it's like, look, we want to show off what's going on here, that's a perfectly valid choice. I'm 100% on board with that. My problem comes in when you're not going to use the visual medium to tell what's happening and kind of explain, because it's like, number one, we don't know a frame of reference, which you just have some Nazi paraphernalia that we don't see until after she's already had her dog, doing disgusting things. And it's like, I don't, like, it's the second one, and the thing is, too, it's like, it's the second one in a row to kind of have animal cruelty at a key point in the story, and it's like, I don't want to see animal cruelty. I really don't. I have no desire to see that in this, and it's like, I'm not saying that impacted where these movies got placed. This one it definitely did, because the animal cruelty aspect didn't play into the story. Because the story is kind of hard to track. So yeah, number 5 would definitely be Bestia, or Beast, or whichever one we're going to do. Number 4 is the select from Russia, Boxed Ballet, which is... It's interesting because, like, it's a 2D animated art style, and look, the fact that it's number 4 has nothing to do with the fact that it is from Russia, current situation notwithstanding. I don't think it's going to win, probably because of the current situation with Russia, if voting is still open. I have a feeling this could harm its chances at winning. Not that, I mean, the number 1, I think, is far and away the best. That would be my pick far and away, irregardless. I don't think this would be as high. I think that this would be number 4 regardless of the war with the Ukraine, or this. This is about a boxer who falls in love with a ballet dancer. For me, it was interesting. Some of the animations are a little bit, not grotesque, but disarming, because it makes use of that, you've seen the meme where it's like you're sitting there and you're watching it, and it's like there's something that's not part of the matte painting background. If you're watching Dragon Ball Z, it's like, oh, well, that's the rock that Goku's gonna get thrown through. Like, yeah, like that kind of thing, where you can look at it and be like, okay, so I know what's going to happen here because of X, Y, and Z. Like, anything that's not moving is kind of stuck in place. So, like, if someone's moving their arms, their head is oddly stagnant, and it kind of creates this disarming feel to it. And I think that, had Bestia had a story to it that was decipherable and cohesive, and I was able to understand what was going on in it, then maybe it would have been ranked higher. I don't think that it is as, and this one would have been probably the worst, because this one has a story, but, and I get they're shorts, but come the fuck on. You can't sit here and introduce broad, wide-reaching concepts like, sexual assault and this boxer who's in there just taking a fucking beating because he thinks the girl left him, and just hang him out to dry the way they did. I mean, look, they get a happy ending, but at the same time, it's like, it's not something that I think works well within the confines of the story. I think that it's just kind of a weird decision. It feels like, when you look at the animation style, it looks like an Adult Swim kind of thing. Like, I was getting distinct, like, Super Jail vibes for it. I think that's an interesting kind of take to have, I think, in terms of art style. And look, I'm not going to fault it for that. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like you watch and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird looking. I mean, the other thing about this is that it doesn't do enough with the animation, which is also another thing that puts it pretty low. For me, if you're going to do something animated, I want to see you do something that couldn't be done in live action. Not necessarily talking animals, which tends to be the case, or something specifically for kids, but I want to see you do something unique and different and cool. And this one could have been done just as easily as a live action short, which I think puts it also pretty low on my list. Where if you're going to do this, you could have done it in live action and done it just as well and have all the same impact emotionally and all of that. So I think that that's kind of hurt it a little bit too. So number 3 is another one that I was watching. I was like, what the fuck? For the Love of Art, I think it was called. I gotta find my note for that. Keep in mind I'm driving, so I don't need the note. I just look up the name, which was Affairs of the Art. That was it, Affairs of the Art. And it's about this woman who's nearly 60 and is feeling didn't do enough with her life. And I feel like the thing with this is it's too, for me, it's too scatterbrained. There's too much going on and not enough cohesive narrative going through it, which is going to sound weird, especially considering what my number one pick is. But, you can do this kind of, back-tracing story about her life and about, all the, the fucked up things that happened in her childhood and all of that. I don't necessarily, I was watching and I'm like, oh, this is a thing about how her sister is now a serial killer, and it turned out she wasn't. It was just, that's not a bad thing per se, but I think that there was definitely alternate choices that could have been made. I'm also, this is an art style problem I have. I'm not a fan of that 2D art style where it kind of looks like, what's it called? It looks like, there are so many flickering lights today. What the fuck is going on? It looks like the, what's it called? It's sketched and all of that. Like, I remember Dear Basketball had that similar look, which it worked there. But in a movie like this, where there's a ton going on, and there's a ton of information, and intricate designs, and intricate, settings, and a lot of things going on with character, to have that be the art style for this doesn't help. And I think another thing that really did not help my enjoyment of this was the fact that it kind of, it felt a little... It's part of a 5 movie thing. When they cut it together for the 5 movies in the presentation, they didn't adjust the volume, so it's very loud compared to the others, and it just kind of adds to the sense of not urgency, but like this kind of sensory overload that happens with this short, because you have the main everything going on in the main picture, but then also it's like, because the events are happening in animation, I feel like the use of the sketch art style kind of adds more to it. And I feel like if you're gonna do that kind of sketch art style that they do there, where it looks like it's sketches and then colored in, that's fine if you're gonna use that to the advantage, in so much as it creates an additional sense of urgency, where because it draws your eye all over the place, you don't know where to look. There's a lot that can be done with that art style, but this one did not take full advantage of it, which is one of the things. If you look at an animated short, I want to take full advantage of the art style. Number 2 is Robin, and number 2 is Robin because it is the most cohesive. It's stop motion animation. It's got a very cool vibe to it. It feels cohesive. It's something that you can show to someone and not confuse them. The fact that it's family friendly notwithstanding, it is hands down the best of the shorts. And the thing is too, I'm watching these shorts and I'm like, that one that they put before Encanto didn't get nominated, but Bestia did, and Box Ballet did. It feels a little weird to me that decision was made. Especially considering I love that one that Disney did before Encanto, the one with the little raccoon and the dad raccoon and the mom raccoon, and about breaking the cycle of abuse and not just being the one who's just I'm going to yell at you and not explain to you why this is. It's such a great thing that ultimately contrasts with Encanto's message. I'm getting off topic, but Robin is a story about this robin's egg that falls and lands with these mice, and the bird hatches, and then they take care of the baby bird, and the baby bird grows into a robin, and they raise this robin as a mouse, and then it's about the robin coming to terms with the fact that it is both a robin and a mouse. And here's the thing about this whole short, I feel like part of the problem is my one complaint about it. If there is a complaint to be had about this short, the one complaint I have is they don't do enough to show that what is perceived as defects that this Robin has, what is perceived as issues, where it's like, what the Robin does that leads to the issues that catalyze the entire story, which is she goes out with the mice and they go to steal from the house, and she keeps fucking around and keeps, accidentally drawing attention, and then they end up getting away with nothing, which leads to the outburst that leads to her running away, and all of that cool stuff. Like, all of the story stuff that happens is a result of that. They don't do enough to showcase that those things are, the result of her being a Robin, as opposed to that being her personality. And I feel like that could be a slight issue with this, for me at least. Like, it would have made it work a little bit better for me. Again, this is all in my opinion. For me, it would have worked a little bit better if they had characterized another Robin to be similar to her. But the music's great. It's a musical. It's Christmas themed, and it's great all around. Gillian Anderson's in it, and Richard E. Grant's in it, and it's great. And the quality is great, and all of the stop motion environments and the characters are all really beautiful and all of that. And it's one of those things that I know I guess sucked Disney's dick a little bit on their short that didn't get nominated, which is probably why this category is not being broadcast. But looking at this and being like, I feel like it's an unfair advantage that this one gets because it has the backing of Netflix. So I think there's a solid chance this one wins, especially considering last year Netflix took home gold for If Anything Happens, I Love You. Now, I haven't seen any of the other nominees for last year's Best Animated Short, but I did see If Anything Happens, I Love You, and oh my god, that's a heartbreaking fucking short right there. Now, the winner for me, my pick, if it were me voting, if I was in the Motion Picture Academy and I saw all of these shorts and I got to pick, my pick would certainly be The Windshield Wiper, which maybe it's just the fact that I'm a huge fan of Richard Linklater's Slacker, and this gave me huge, Slacker vibes. It's just there are so many things that this one does well, and the reason it doesn't win will be because Robin beats it, I think, because it's just fantastic. It's a bunch of little stories about love and what it means to have love and to not have love, and how it works, and it's such a great story for that, because each of the things has a different animation, style, its own subtleties and nuances that make them look different and visually unique as you cut between them, and it all is this, this beautiful story about, like, the love of a long-standing relationship or a new relationship, or wanting to find that new relationship, or what happens if you don't have that, and all of that. And it's just all the little vignettes that get cut together in this are just so beautifully done on every front. It is hands down the best animated short this year. I don't know who the front runner is, if there is one currently, but if there is one that you are going to watch, there is nudity. It was after the partition of, like, these are the shorts that have sexual content, and I completely understand that, not because of this, but because of the fucking bestiality that happened in the earlier one. Hands down, this is the one to watch. It is the best of the animated shorts, and it's one of those things where it's like you watch it and you can see, like, this is what animation can be used for. And it's like, look, I know I gave an argument for against box ballet for saying, like, there's nothing here that couldn't have been done in traditional in traditional live action, and you can probably make the same case for this, but here, when they used the animation, it was this beautiful 2.5D, like, almost like, the kind of thing we saw pioneered with, like, Into the Spider-Verse and things like that, but we're seeing it to tell human stories and tell a real grounded humanity. It is such a great thing. I would, if there's a way to watch this, I don't know if there is or not. I don't know if it's on a streamer yet. This is the one that I would recommend everyone watch. It is hands down the best. So to go back through the final ranking, in my opinion, of the animated shorts that are nominated for Best Animated Short this year: number 5, Beastia; number 4, Box Ballet; number 3, Affairs of the Art; number 2, Robin Robin; and number 1, The Windshield Wiper. It is not even close how far ahead The Windshield Wiper is over the rest. It is the best animated short of the year. And even had that other one that I really liked that didn't get nominated, which name I'm forgetting right now. If that did get nominated, that would have been, this one still would have been leaps and bounds the best one to come out this year. Nudity be damned, sexual content be damned. It is such an intimate look at humanity using this medium that it can't not, it can't not be the best. So we'll wrap up there for today. If you get a chance to, AMC is showing these, I think, all week, and I know the Batman's coming out on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There will be some theaters being occupied by a 3-hour-long fucking Batman movie. There's already writing on the wall is not going to be as great as everyone's thinking it will be. I'm still holding out hope because, I've managed to, employ enough cognitive dissonance to be excited for this piece of shit. But, it is, if you can go out and check these out, it's definitely worth checking out. Maybe your opinion is different from me. Maybe you agree with me. Maybe you think I'm right. But it is definitely worth the opportunity to watch these animated shorts because, say what you will about Netflix having it there and Disney having a big stake in it because they always put out an animated short. But, this is, when I see the shorts categories, these are the categories of people who are, going out and telling a story. And it's just the passion that goes into telling these stories, be it documentary, live action, or short, or animated. These are people who want to go out and they want to tell their story by any means necessary. And you get a lot of really great heart out of these. And all 5 of these, have something to be proud of, even if I didn't care for some of them. Definitely worth checking these out to support these artists and in their endeavors. So with that, we'll wrap up there for today. Tomorrow, I will be seeing the live action shorts, and we'll be talking about those tomorrow evening. Fuck me. It's not right here. Nice. So definitely, if you can go and see these movies, go and see them in theaters. If not, support them wherever you can. Like last year's winners are both on Netflix. You can go and watch Two Distant Strangers and If Anything Happens, I Love You on Netflix right now. They're definitely also worth your time to watch. But tomorrow we have definitely the live action shorts, all 5 of those. And then later this week, The Worst Person in the World is finally out. Norway's Select for Best International Feature. And the what's it called? The other one is going to be The Batman. And Best Documentary Shorts, if they end up showing those out here. I'm not seeing any screenings for those, which is disappointing because I would love to see the documentary shorts as well. So with that, we'll be back next week, or tomorrow, as some call it, because today is Saturday and tomorrow is Sunday. So until then, have a great rest of your week.